Okay, this is a video for the AAW Canary. I should have posted a little bit of a close-up to start this video because sometimes people are like, I can't see the damn thing. You just did. And it is a tri-brid with EST in the treble, balanced armature in the mids, and 2 dynamic drivers in isobaric configuration. Show you what that looks like. I believe in this one it's cone to cone. If you stop that video at the beginning, you can see the little white cylinder, and I believe they're cone to cone, but it could be cone to magnet, magnet to magnet. They're all isobaric, but I believe this is an example of cone to cone. This is a very good set. This is a really, really good set. It's about $2,000. Stop, wait, don't take out. It's, if nothing else, learn that there's some surprises in this. Everything sounded great. Tupac, Picture Me Rollin' sounded great. Steely Dan, Hey 19 sounded great. Aerosmith, No More, No More. Pink Floyd, On the Run sounded huge. Everything went fine. It went so fine that I thought, you know, is this one of my better earphones? Like top tier level? And yeah, it is. I think it's better than the Unique Melody Maverick TI because this is not that different, but it's got better bass than that, and the bass doesn't get in the way of the mids. And this is a comparison with the Sony Z1R, which is very relevant and fascinating, absolutely fascinating. I'll get to this in a little bit. The album that brought this all home for me was American Beauty by the Grateful Dead. All of this, Tupac, Picture Me Rollin', the bass sounded fantastic. Micro details were there. I was feeling very good. I skipped Steely Dan at that moment, went direct to Aerosmith because I wanted to hear cymbal strikes. It sounded good. Steven Tyler sounded good. The piano sounded good. And then I went to Blind Faith because there's a cymbal strike that I'm just so absolutely familiar with. Second only to that Aerosmith track would be Blind Faith. Ginger Baker. I believe it's maybe the first strike on Can't Find My Way Home. It's right there. It's right there. And it can sound multiple variations of good to okay. And on this set, it actually sounded absolutely fantastic. Was so stoked because that's hard to do. And the graph says, you know, EST slightly reduced. No, everything sounded great. They did a brilliant job tuning this. There's one little exception, and it's not something that you would know unless you had the Z1Rs as a reference, which I do. This is a reference set. It can do that. It can do bass, it can do mids, it can do treble. And you look at that graph and you think, well, the treble looked like it could be too much sometimes. That's the thing that I'm going to get to in a little bit. So back to the Canary. It's doing everything right. Tupac, Picture Me Rollin', the bass is coming in very good. Steely Dan, Hey 19, 4-string bass guitarist. It's perfect. I'm totally digging this set. At the beginning, I was using foams. Something felt wrong, and I don't know what these tips are, where they came from, but these are silicone wide bore, and everything improved with this. It went from a really good set to, like, that's top level for me. This is better than the U12T. This is better than most of the 64 audio stuff I've tried. This is legit really nice. It's slightly large, but not that big. The Sony's, it's not that much different than the Sony, but it's not as heavy because it's not made out of metal. That this is made out of metal is going to be kind of a key point, I guess, that I'm going to get to. So the Canaries have great bass. Listening to this track right here, Kill Jill, that triple bass, it's a hit with a drop, and then another one that kind of cuts into the middle. It's actually this one for people that don't. 70 hertz at 33 seconds, 45 hertz, 39 roughly, and then one that cuts the middle at 43 seconds. So in a 10-second span, you got 3 hits. And stuff like, this is the 660S Thunder. They don't do it. Those are headphones. Earphones usually don't have a problem with especially dynamics. Unless your name's P1, but I don't recall checking that. Does this like a boss, but it does the mids quite well too. At no time is this bass getting in the way of the mids because the mids are being taken care of by BAs that are well tuned. They did a very good job with this set. I'm totally pleased. Spent money for it. Don't feel bad at all. That's rare. This is $2,000. Don't run away. Please stop. listen because there's something. I'm going to put something at the end of this video because if it gets blocked in some regions, I can just trim it off the end. I'm not a video editor. Like I can boom, 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 boom. I use basic stuff like Windows Movie Maker. I found an old copy and put it on this computer because it's just super basic. So I'm going to do that. So if this goes up and then it comes down, it's because I'm doing that. And maybe I'll leave this part in to explain it, or maybe not. Pink Floyd on the Run, very nice sense of space, very, very wide. The L3 by TA Audio, which is tuned kind of like this, has got a surprising sense of space when it's supposed to be there. Remember, it's a psychoacoustic illusion because these are basically earplugs with speakers playing music. They're blocking out most everything on the outside, and you thinking that you're in the middle of something on the left and something on the right is a trick of tuning. It's called psychoacoustics. They did a good job with this. I feel like I'm in space when I'm listening to On the Run because the rockets that are behind me sound like they're kind of behind me. If you've ever listened to the Chesky, Dr. Chesky records where the guy walks around and he says, "I'm on the right side," and he's banging on a drum or something. You can, behind you feels, because your brain tricks you, like it's kind of going on. I'm right behind you, and you can kind of, the cross feed back. In front is hard to get. Having something seeming to be more than this, like up here, is very hard to do. I don't really even go that far. But the Pink Floyd on the Run has got stuff that's going behind me and then shooting off to my virtual left and my virtual right, and it sounds really good. Totally stoked. Went and listened to the Grateful Dead again. This one. And I listened to 2 tracks. This is why the Z1R is in here. I listened to a track, and I'm going to try, maybe I cut out a little part of this track, and I'm going to put it at the end of this, because this is what this does very good. This is the same singer on 2 tracks, Ripple and Broke Down Palace, but he's stressing his vocal cords a little more on Broke Down Palace. I don't know if I got the volume correct on both of these because I took them from YouTube, the copies that I cut and trimmed on a YouTube free service thing. So I don't think they're volume matched, because when I listen to it, the Broke Down Palace isn't giving me the same thing that it gave me here. If you've got any version of American Beauty, you can go ahead and listen to this. Ripple is it's almost like a spoken vocals. He's taxing himself a little bit. On Broke Down Palace, he's taxing himself more. And I thought, this sounds just a bit grainy. Don't know how to put it. Not just like grainy. And then I looked at the graph with the Z1R, because I'd already done it, because it's my reference set, and I thought that, because this is literally the acoustic, the harmonic extension range of vocals. The fundamentals go to about 1.5K. This is important. This is where the gain starts, almost always right around 1K. And stuff that exists up here is going to give emphasis to the harmonic extension of vocals and guitars. And if you were to look at this graph right here, I just did something about frequency graphs. You would think that if this set is giving kind of grain, then this set would maybe be slightly intense. And it isn't. So Grateful Dead, Ripple, epic bassy guitar together. So the bass and guitar are going right next to each other. They're sounding really, really good. Jerry's vocals better than Z1R. I crossed that off. I shouldn't have, because that was actually applied to Ripple. And at that moment I thought so. And then Broke Down Palace, I switched because I thought, holy shit. And then Blind Faith Symbol's perfect. Sony, not secret sauce tweeter. The tweeter in the Z1R is a big part of why the Z1R is so special. This is a video for this. It's $2,000. It's in my top tier. I think it's fantastic if you have a lot of money and you want to try stuff without epic fails. This would be something to give. You could take this and be gone. This is a legit, like, out of the hobby type of thing. It's in that level, I think, but most of the people that buy stuff at this price range don't ever really do that. But comparing it with the Sony IER Z1R shows why this is so fucking amazing, because the dynamic driver doing the tweeter, the treble, and EST doing the treble is the same thing being done by different drivers, different transducers, and you can hear that. If I didn't have this set, I think I would just think this is epic. That treble on some stuff can sound a little bit grainy, but otherwise really fine. But I do have this set, and this is my reference set. And once I pulled this out and listened to it, thinking, remember, you get a bias when you look at graphs because there's an expectation bias. Like, oh, look at that. That 4K is, yeah, that's going to maybe get on me, but I'm already in love with it, so no damage, no harm, no foul. Let's see how it compares to this set that I also think is really good. And it took that second song that I'm going to pin. First one will be Ripple, which they both play very well, and then Broke Down Palace. This gets a little grainy when Jerry Garcia is trying to get up there, and the Sony doesn't do that. But it looks on a graph like it would. But there's two different types of technology taking care of that specific area. One is an EST, which is they're still getting their mind around how to properly implement it, and then there's the dynamic. And I'm wondering now why, with all the chi-fi companies, a company hasn't gone ahead and kind of copied Sony's idea. A full range dynamic, a BA. I don't know, that would be the hardest because that's a Sony in-house created BA, which is, I'm going to step out on a limb and say it's probably really good and better than most others. Sony's a massive company and they can do everything themselves pretty much. That would be the hardest part to mimic, would be the quality of the mids. But a dynamic driver in the treble, like the Sony, firing at you like the full range driver. I'm surprised nobody's really gone for that. If this is the reference, which it is for quite a lot of people, I think more people in the, like, I can spend whatever I want, have settled and stopped on the Sony, assuming it fits, than anything else. Why hasn't that been imitated, even in a B-level version? I was thinking that today, because this is excellent. This is a very good set. I recommend it. I think that if you have the money to try this and try that, sell stuff and eat a little bit of a loss, and in your mind you feel not much about it because that's kind of the fun of the hobby, this would be a set you should try. The bass is absolutely on par with the Sony. I thought it was better than the Sony. The mids are, I think they're on par. I thought they were a little bit better. And then the treble came. And these do treble very well. The Sonys are another level. So I think part of Sony's big deal is that little dynamic driver. I think that's got a lot to do with it. Because despite that peak at 4K and relative also 6K, it's not a problem. They're dipping it at 8 and then post 8K info. They're doing, it's fucking amazing. So the Canaries get wrecked. They play Tupac, which is hip hop. They play Steely Dan, Aerosmith, Pink Floyd. They play Bob Marley. They play Grateful Dead. They do everything very, very good. The only weak point that I could find, and it's not a weak point, I'm going to pin at the end of this video, is just Jerry Garcia is not, you guys know I'm a deadhead. Come on. I mean, this is my collection before I started sharing it on the internet. I basically got all the studio albums, and I got a lot of bootlegs too, which they were totally cool with. But Jerry Garcia is not the greatest vocalist. You know what I mean? I love his voice, but listening to Broke Down Palace, I can hear him straining. I guess that's not a big deal, but Sony presents it better. And other than that, it's a fantastic set. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this video. As I showed, it comes in a wooden case, and it's very beautifully displayed. I did an unboxing video for it. Again, one final time, do I recommend it? I do, for people that have the money and move from one thing to the other, because there are some things that you should just skip because they're a waste of money. I'll bring up one. The most expensive earphones that I've ever almost bought was the Vision, the Earphones. They're like $5,000 in Japan. I tried those. Holy crap. I ain't even mad because I didn't buy them, but I'm not going to. But I thought I could because Japan just gave money big money to everybody that runs businesses, and I thought, nah, that's not even in my like special audio budget. That's extra. That's plus alpha. Let's get the most expensive one. Yeah, no, let's not, and let's move along. Holy crap! Wow. So this is not on that crazy level. This is $2,000 U12Ts. There's a lot of stuff around that range, sadly, but this would be one that you might want to try. I love them. I think they're fantastic. Going to go on the top tier. How do they compare to the Belons? I actually did check that out. The Belons are really good. I don't care what people talk about. You know, for this price, these are pretty good. Yeah, fuck you. They're really good, period, man. They overall play better than this set in the treble. The bass on this is better than on the Belons, but the treble on the Belons is probably better. Belons they're legit. Somebody was going to come in and say, what do you think about compared to the Belons? You forget price, because that's the way the Belon owners' brains work, and I'm totally with you. Your Belon is better than this in the treble. And if you like big bass, and overall it's completely better. And it's $30. Be very happy. And I'm out. And I'll put the music on the end of this and see if it works. Done.
Let it be known, there is a fountain that was not made by